Hang on, what's this doing here? We're supposed to have new vans. I tell you what, let's get shot of this one, eh? That's better, the new electric Vivaro. These are cracking. And you've seen those videos on how to work them, how to charge them, how to drive them. But what we probably haven't seen is what's going on in the back. I tell you what, let's spin this one round. That's better. I tell you what, that's a lot easier than driving it. Get that right open there. Well, there we have it. And you know, it's not as though this has just been thrown together and we stick a shelf there, no one here. There's been a lot of thought and effort gone into this and science behind it. Remember the previous vans when you actually had to reach in and get stuff? The trouble with that is the pressure on the body. Because it promotes us to have our feet in line, reaching, picking stuff up, all pivot and twist, and all the pressure's going here. With this one, everything actually comes to you. You don't have to reach for anything. In fact, you'll probably find this looks very similar to another van, the Combo. You'll be right with that. The difference, we've made some clever changes to this one because we've got some more room. See, here at the bottom, totes, 4 totes in, sweet as. And look there, pull out from that, just turn it ever so slightly, and you've got complete access to it, doesn't even have to come out. Putting it back in. You've got extra room here, so there's no trapping in the knuckles. In these drop-down fronts here, you've got all these trays. But these trays are actually bigger. And there's more height there as well. You've got the, I said to the guys, what do you call this? They said the pulley thing. So let's call it the pulley thing, eh? Well, you've got your pulley thing to bring the drawers out with. So from in there, pull them out. And you can push them back. And it stores in there very cleverly. But you've always got to remember to make sure that's all secure. But look, 45-degree angle. Remember your lifting and handling. The top here, we have even more room here. We have the tray for the pipes, split, copper, plastic. The wing shelf, more space. Down here, both sets of ladders are in there. And you've got the straps, because remember, everything's got to be secure. So, same as the Combo, bigger and better. Happy days. Let's have a look at this side. Well, just as clever as the Combo, but there's a couple of smart additions to this because we've got extra room. The wing shelf is the same pass-through, and you can see right through here, you know, so you can actually reach things from the other side rather than working from the road side, the dangerous side. You have your little cut-off shelf here, so you've got the little off-cuts to make sure you don't get lost in the big pipe tube at the top. The pouch is there, but you know, the nicest thing about that is these shelves. For me, there's the top one. You've got your charger there, USB, and your laptop charger here. That's all great. That one's permanent, but these two, you can actually move them around. You know, if you're always carrying big items, you can actually take one of these out completely, but bolt it up, stood upright to the side. Because right the way down here, it's a bit like one of those shelves you've got in the kitchen units, you know, and you can actually position the shelf where you want it. You take the little bits out and put the shelf in to fit the coffee machine in and the cups, and it's all cracking. It's all bespoke. You've got the same choice here. You can set these at whatever height you want them, and if you want to take one of them out, you can actually stand it up the side and bolt it in because there's holes in there to bolt it. All you need is your T30. What I do is I use the ratchet just to free it up, and then the screwdriver, but it's just the 4 bolts in each corner because you've got the 6 shelves. Next door is mirrored to this. Take it out, position it where you want. Obviously you're going to do that before you set off on your journey, aren't you? So it's that American saying, innit? Failure to prepare, preparing to fail. So cracking little setup there and some options and changing the shelves. So we've talked about this. Let's talk about loading it, eh? Well, we've just kidnapped Tom's van. He was halfway through loading his. But just to talk through the concept of it, because when you get it delivered, it's going to be full of these empty boxes. And you can see here, there's 3 rows of 3 on there, 3 rows of 3 on there. You've got all of the top ones. And in my mind, I have like 4 totes at the bottom, although one of the totes actually gets substituted out for the vacuum. But that's them at the bottom. So what we want you to do is actually space these out in a safe place. I mean, got this reversed up to the back of the front of the garage, so we're using the floor space that's in the garage to load all these out to transfer the components from the old van into them. Now, it doesn't have to be delivered to your home. I mean, if you haven't got a safe place there or a dry place, speak to your manager. There might be one of the team's meeting places. It can be delivered wherever you want. Now, when we're loading it up, common sense tells us the stuff we're not going to use that much is going to be the back of them. And on the top here is going to be the light stuff. For example, here's the one that's loaded. Tom's already loaded this. What's he got in here? He's got all these switches in here. Fabulous. There's a slightly smaller tray here, and there's some cables and some tapes and like little switchboards or whatever in here. That's all the light stuff. Then you've got that shelf and that shelf, which has got 9 of them in, then the big ones at the bottom. So we've spaced all that out, so it's in those 1, 2, 3 sections. And let's see what Tom's stuck in them, eh? Hey Tom, so I can see what we've got done here. So this is our ground floor with the 3 totes in the vacuum.
Yep.
That's our first floor and that's our second floor.
Yep.
This is the back and that's going to be the front of the van, yeah? Yeah. So, talk to me, what have you got in these totes then, mate?
Okay, so in the tote you've got all your larger items, such as expansion vessels, flue collectors and large flue components.
Got you. And obviously the steps and the ladders for going down the side.
Yep.
Yeah? So this is our next level. So at the back here, these are going to be used less frequent. So what stuff do you use less frequently?
So things like gas valves, burners, things along those lines.
Right, yeah. And in the front here?
So these are all your smaller components, but what I've done is organise them into manufacturers. So, such as glowworm, Baxi, Vapor.
I see. And these ones are going to be stuff you're going to be using more often.
Yes.
And I think the other important thing here as well is not to overload the tray. Because, what's this? Is this a fan?
It's a fan, yeah.
Yeah. You stick that fan in one of those boxes, it takes up the whole box. So these you've got on the wing shelf down the side.
Yes.
Yeah, so those on the wing shelf, got access to them because otherwise it's a bit of a waste on that. And you can't actually have them on there because you ain't going to fit in, but you'll find that out when you try it. So now we're going to the next level. Again, these more frequent items, which is, what's these?
So this is what we call a sump pan. So this is more frequent on Baxi boilers.
Right.
They replace quite often, so that's shaped more to the front.
Yeah.
Again, glowworm circuit boards.
These are all quite small components here. What are all of these, Tom? You've got quite
so they're manifolds.
Yeah.
Worcester combis.
Yeah, so it's all the bits in there. So you as an engineer, you're using these quite regular because this is right at the front of your third level up.
Yep.
And this stuff a little bit less frequent. And what have you got in here?
Such as sensors, again, circuit boards,
ya.
flue seals, things along those lines.
Got you. So, I hope that's giving you an idea what Tom's actually done, but you're getting the concept of it now, aren't you? So, now this is all laid, and it's amazing how much you get in this stuff, isn't it? And from the previous van to this one, it fits in quite comfortable.
It does, and it's so much more organised than the older vans because everything's to hand, everything in manufacturer, and easily accessible.
And the great thing is, it all comes to you, so you're not reaching in. So the only thing it leaves us to do now is pick these up and put it in, but we're using the right manual handling technique.
Yep.
Inside your base, big engines, and moving the foot, not twisting it. Let's crack on then, Tom. That's typical. Tom's gone for a tea break, left me to fill it. But just as a refresher for you, you know when I was talking about that inside base, always working from those corners, and you know, you've been able to move the feet, working at a 45-degree angle there. You know, here's the fan. Now, we said it was on the wing shelf, it'll probably fit in the other side, but look at all the space we've got left here. That could be for dust sheets, rubbish bags, whatever. So we've got the options, but I'll just stick that in there. The ladders, you know, long object, people come up from there, outside base. You know, you pick it up from one end, get it to its balance point, there, and as you're sticking it in, you get one end down first, that takes the weight of it, and then just guide it into position. Obviously, you're going to make sure that's strapped in. And again, the amount of people you see going like that, just picking it up, way outside base, twist, that's gotta hurt. You know, there, from the corners, shift the feet, get one end down, and there it is, fully loaded. You know, we relate this like a kitchen, you know, where kitchen drawers and everything come to you. You never forget where your knives and forks are. There's a few knives and forks in there. So we've got this to help us. Look, you've got your bit pen, you can write on there exactly, like a blueprint, a little map of each one of those sections. And after a short while, you'll get very, very used to it and you know exactly where they are. But there we are. Let's go and have a look at that side door. Just picked up my laptop because it needs charging. But you know, when you do things like this, don't stand and lean in, because again, that's huge pressure. You know, this is 2/3 of your body weight on there. 45-degree angle, and you can have your forearm leaning against the shelf there as you connect things up. And you've got the USB point there, remember, that can charge tools. Cracking, and you've got all the space here. Space here is for the bigger items. Flow gas analyzer fits in there beautiful. Oh, see the shelf there? What's wrong with that picture? It needs bolting in, you can't just stick it in there. When you've unscrewed it, bolt it in there. Because you're setting this up for how you want it. And just look at the distance I've got. I've got 55 there, and on the inside, 65. Up to that top shelf, which is the only one you can't take out, remember? 96, it's just under a metre. So I know the boiler parts, the canopies fit in there, but also heat exchanger, expansion vessels, drums from the washing machines, they'll all fit in there. You just set it up to the way you want it. Because that's a commonly asked question, well, what about the bigger items? It's there, because these two shelves are movable to what you want it. Just set it up before you go. What else is commonly asked? Oh, that was another one. They were saying, you know the grey boxes in the back? Well, I have to take them out and put them on the floor to get the other ones. You don't. If you noticed earlier in the shot, I even got the tote box, the red tote box there. So there's loads of room to get the little grey boxes in the back. Nothing needs to go on the floor. Absolute cracking van and loads of space. Even more, that's in the combo. Just enjoy it, because it's a fabulous drive.